Butterfly earrings and a Hannah Montana t-shirt is all that she was wearing under the piles of dirt. A 21-year-old drew the map leading to the 8-year-old, and when you saw what they did, it would make your blood run cold. Walking home alone was a rite of passage. What was done to her was nothing short of savage. Raped and then beaten with a claw hammer. There's nothing the 21-year-old could say that wouldn't damn her. She was the one that led the little girl to the beast, who would rape and kill her and not care in the least. They bought the garbage bags and the hammer at the same store, and when the clerk took their money, he didn't know what for. He didn't know they had an 8-year-old that they would brutalize. It's not an image he could imagine or even see it through their eyes, but it's not a moment in life that he'll ever forget. He didn't do anything wrong, but he'll still feel regret. Terry Lynn McClintock found the child that Rafferty wanted, and her screams were the nightmares from her childhood that haunted. And she held her hand while she peed red blood on the snow, all the while denying to herself what she should already know, that Rafferty was gonna rape her again and again. The question wasn't was he, the question was when. And even though Tori begged her, she gave her back to him, and there were no illusions about what he would do because she already knew him. And when Tori screamed, she remembered the child that couldn't escape, the child she was so long ago when she'd been victim of a rape. And she hated that child with a rage that boiled deep, because all she did for her that day was to cry and to weep. She went back to the car and she beat her to death. She used a hammer to smash her head until she had no breath. And when she stopped moving, the nightmare subsided. She could go back to the place where once more she denied it. But why didn't she just grab her and just run for the hills? Why in the world did she make the decision to kill? The papers wouldn't get it. They'd see her as nothing but an evil person, a violent, vengeful, drug-crazed gang member whose behavior would just worsen. And their anger just ensured they would never search much further. They could never understood just why she would have hurt her. They didn't get how far self-hate can take you from humanity, or what it's like to live in a world that's drenched in profanity. It's not a normal 18-year-old that would take a child for a man. It was clear that there was something about her that no one could understand. But we didn't hear what her story was, just the crime she committed. But somewhere on the path of her life, her mind had been refitted. The rage she was filled with didn't just get suddenly birthed. It had to come from somewhere for it to have been unearthed. But in our anger, we don't care. We just want her to pay. The last thing we want is for her to have a say. We don't want to know why, because then it gets too complicated. The idea that monsters are created and the process can be replicated. We want to see them as freaks of nature. It's the way they were born. They deserve none of our sympathy and all of our scorn. And it's true, she took the life of an innocent killed by her hand. The little 8-year-old girl who would never again play in the sand. An innocent child lost to all who loved her in a series of violent acts, detailed in the paper until they became a list of violent facts. No chance to live her life or to grow up to be somebody. Just a lifeless body beaten until her head was bloody. A mother hooked on oxys who left her to walk home alone. And as a result she lost her child and would never get to see her grown. The beast who ordered up a child whose innocence he could steal from a young woman who felt so needy that there's no way she'd ever heal. All the pieces of the puzzle that fit together to create her fate. And when the last piece was put in place, it was a picture of her self-hate. And the little girl was like a mirror whose image she was forced to break in order to stop the pain that threatened to overcome her with its ache. And who knows what created Rafferty? Something much more sinister. There must have been something there that created the evil he'd administer. Their historical environments are breeding grounds for their callous behavior. They must have grown up with something evil, and for them there was no savior. And as long as we punish the sick, we'll never root out the causes. We'll just convene on one more court trial without any thoughtful pauses. And so the crimes would just continue, the evil unabated, the childhoods that produce the violators forever underrated. And how many more victims will fall to our callous disregard for those raised in empty environments that cause their compassion to retard, that turns innocence into monsters that defy imagination, the subjects of crime shows that attract our fascination. Maybe we don't try to stop it because of some perverted satisfaction. Maybe what it's really all about is some addictive like attraction. Maybe what we really want is for the boogeyman to be real. Maybe we're looking for something atrocious enough to make us feel. Maybe we'll want a distraction from the emptiness we feel inside us. Maybe we get excited by the actions of others that are denied us. Maybe we're looking for a target for the rage we often hide. Maybe we're pointing to others as a way to deflect how much we've lied. Whatever, it's our denial that will ensure we'll never know. It's a level of self-awareness where not many want to go. And so the broken and the bent will continue to destroy the innocence they steal from another little girl or little boy. And we'll continue to shout our outrage and not do too much more than spend our time trying to come up with another way to even the score. Instead of finding a way to stop it by eliminating what creates it, we just continue to punish the offender, which only recreates it. So Tori Stafford died the victim of someone else's wounds, and by the end of the day there was more than one life left in ruins.